Hello, sisters. Welcome to the Sacred Medicine Podcast, weaving powerful, soulful practices into functional medicine. Step into this beautiful space of devotion and explore everything from nurturing foods, rituals, sexuality, and awakening your innate sensuality. It is time to own your radiance. This is the Sacred Medicine Podcast. Hello, and welcome back to this week's episode of the Sacred Medicine Podcast. Thank you so much for joining me this week. I hope all of you are doing fabulously. As we head into fall here, it's actually starting to feel more and more like fall. And I'm getting used to leaving behind summer, finally. So I wanted to introduce to you someone today that you may recognize. She was from season 2 of Married at First Sight, which aired on A&E, Jessica Castro. So I reached out to her because I wanted to start interviewing women, actually not really interviewing them, but having a dialogue about their experiences, whether it was experiences with dating, in relationship, anything fun, exciting, anything fulfilling, magnificent. And I want it to be more of a dialogue rather than an interview. So this is the first episode of that. And that'll probably be coming maybe once a month on a typical Wednesday. And I wanted to just tell you a little bit about Jessica, if you don't know already. She did start her career in the entertainment industry at the age of 17 when she competed for the crown of Miss Virginia. She also has gone on to model for designers, walk the runway for fashion shows, and has also appeared in magazines such as Latina magazine. And you may know her for the season 2 of Married at First Sight. So we talk about her dating experience now, like what's up in her love life now. We talk about her dating experience. What was her worst dating, her worst date ever? And also we talk about the breakup that happened on the show that many of you may have witnessed and seen. We also go into what she's doing now for teens, and she has become an inspirational speaker, which has been such, I commend her so much for moving forth from the show and what has happened and really becoming a woman that young women look up to and just becoming a mentor to them. It's really just beautiful. So you will get all the update on what she's up to these days, what's going on in her life, who is she dating, what's happening, and just a continuation of Married at First Sight. Just a little sneak peek into that. Okay, so without further ado, on to the show. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Sacred Medicine Podcast. I am your host, Margaret Romero, and I am very happy to have a very special guest today on the show, Jessica Castro. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here today.
Oh my God, thank you so much, Margaret. I am super pumped about this.
So I am starting something a little different on the podcast. Now, normally I have interviews. I have my Friday Wisdom for the Weekend. And I wanted to introduce a different concept. And that was, in addition to my interviews, was having more of a dialogue with women who have experienced either some kind of crazy dating experience or like something really fantastic or just something horrific but funny. And I thought about you, and I'm so happy that you said yes to being interviewed today. And so I really would love to just dive right in, and I would love to just hear, so first of all, tell us all, what's your current dating situation?
Yeah, so I am actually seeing someone, and I have been for quite some time now. It's a long distance relationship.
Okay.
But it's been it's been working for us in that way. I don't know if it's because I'm just, from New York, and I've dated a lot here, and I've been in serious relationships, and then I've just dated, a few people that I've gone on a few dates with, and I don't know what it is. It's just New York men are just not doing it for me right now, and so yeah, I decided to expand my horizons and date outside of New York, which is what I've been doing actually ever since the show. So
Very nice. And so,
yeah.
how far does he live?
He lives in Puerto Rico at the moment, so it's been
Oh,
it's
okay.
been a little bit of a struggle, actually.
Yeah, of
Yeah, because
course.
I haven't actually been able to speak with him with everything
Oh
going
my
on.
gosh. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
and terrifying.
Of course, of course. I hope that he and his family are safe. Does he have his whole family there as well?
He No, he has his grandmother there, and he has some aunts, and his
Okay.
father out there. I believe he was staying with his grandmother during the hurricane, and so we just haven't been able to get in touch with them.
Okay. Okay. Well, hope that it all turns out okay and that you'll be able to be in
Yeah, I
communication
have
with him
faith.
soon.
Yeah, I have faith that they're in God's hands. They're good. So
Okay. Good, good. Well, I'll be saying prayers for him.
thank you so much.
So, okay, so that's been happening. And by the way,
Yeah.
how did you meet him? If were you on traveling vacation or?
No, so he's actually he's not from there. He's actually from Florida, which is where my sister lives, and we just have mutual friends. And so that's, we were introduced, and yeah, we just kind of took it from there, and I've been visiting more often. I also have family in Puerto Rico. I have my grandparents from my father's side of the family, my biological father's side.
Okay.
So I take advantage a lot more going. As a child, I really didn't experience Puerto Rico, and now as I've gotten older, I've learned to appreciate it a lot more. And it makes it easier now, that I know my family more, and I have him there. So I travel there quite often.
Okay.
Yeah, mutual friends we've met.
Great, great. Okay, so let's go back to, I know you had the time of the show, and I'm sure that were dating a bunch around that time, and then you decided you wanted to do the whole thing, and you really took a big leap to go on the show and become married to a stranger, and that
Right.
seemed to be short-lived and whatnot. But a couple, it seems that a few of them also have been in the past from me watching the show that they've
Very
been
short-lived.
short-lived. Yes. Tell me about a dating experience that you've had. Let's just talk about something that you've experienced that have been just like, oh my God, I cannot believe this is happening right now.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because in my early 20s, pretty much most of my 20s, I was in a relationship. Almost 7 years. Even though we were on and off, it was it was very intense. And we had gotten engaged, and we moved in together and all this stuff. And then so 2 years after that was when, I was kind of dating here and there. I didn't really find anyone super interesting or someone who really caught my eye, and it wasn't, it had nothing to do with them. There was just no attraction for me. And then that's when the show happened. But again, you meet some interesting fellas living here in New York. We I've been asked a few times, like, tell me one of your most, like, funniest or non-funniest, or one date that really, really just sticks out to you that you're just like, oh my God, I cannot believe that this even happened. And I always refer back to the story because it's quite hysterical. Not that I can laugh about it, but my dearest best friend, who I love to death, her now husband, which I knew him before I met her. They've been together for 10 plus years now, and he has a younger brother, and we were at their kid's first birthday party, I believe, and he's like, Jess, I think it would be really great if you go on a date with my brother. And I'm like, well, I didn't even know you had a brother, one, and I'm single. Okay, sure, let's do it,
Right.
And let me tell you how, to this day, I look at them and I'm like, I can't believe you set me up like that. He was just, he wasn't very well. He wasn't very well mannered, which this sounds terrible. But so he picked me up. He was a corrections officer at Rikers Island, which is a jail here in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And he came straight from work, which is fine. Everyone works. I get it. But he came straight in his uniform. He did not take a bath. So he was dealing with inmates all day long. And then he comes to pick me up in his uniform. I'm like, all right, well, this is great. So we go out to dinner, and I remember having jeans on, and the restaurant was on a second floor. And he's like, after you. So we're walking up the steps, and all of a sudden I hear, damn. Obviously, I know what he's referring to because he's walking behind me. And I turn around and I'm like, really? Really? You couldn't just keep that to yourself.
Right.
To me, that's just super rude. Like, just keep your comments to yourself.
Right.
Fine. I'm already agitated at this point, but I'm like, we're here. Let's just, let me just get through this dinner. I don't really recall the conversation because it's been a few years and it's been a while actually. But I just remember him ordering a rack of ribs and like getting down, like licking his fingers. I'm like, oh my God, this is disturbing beyond belief. Like, this day can't get any worse. Finally, we go, he takes me home and he asked me for a kiss. And I was like, no, I'm okay. I'm just going to go inside. At this point, I'm just like, I'm ready to run inside and just, get rid of him. And he's very persistent. He tried to push up on me to get a kiss. And I was like, if you don't back up off of me, we're going to have issues. It was, thank you for dinner. It was, it was nice while it lasted, but never again. And every time I see his father's like, my son is so stupid. He would have had a great life with you. He still apologizes to this day. It's pretty hysterical. But the guy has moved on. He's, he got married. He had a kid, and I'm like happy for him. But in my head, I'm like, really? Really? What? Like, how did this happen? Like, how did I get stuck with this situation? But that has kind of been like my dating stories. I don't have terrible ones. That's probably like the most terrible one. But, it's very interesting dating in New York because you just never know who you're going to come across.
You really, really, really don't. I remember there was one time, well, okay, let me, before I go into that story, have you ever had or been on a date with someone that completely didn't look like their photo?
No, thank God.
Okay. Yeah, that's happened to me.
Oh,
the guy
God.
was, do you know Chewy from the show with Chelsea Handler?
I sure do.
Okay. So the picture was not Chewy. I mean, it was like this great friggin' picture. We had great conversations on the phone. Another thing that I don't do anymore is have lots of like a week or two of conversation on the phone before meeting, because then you're like, oh, it's going to be so great. And then you meet and then it's
not
so
great.
not that. And the chemistry is zero. And anyway, so I ended up going and meeting this guy. We were on the Upper East Side, and he brings in, first of all, he is like just a little taller than Chewy. And Chewy is about, I don't know, what is he, like 4 foot tall?
I don't know, but
four?
He's tiny.
Yeah, he's tiny. So he was just like, I'm like, what? Are you serious right now? With flowers and like, what can we eat? And I was like, I can't believe I have to sit through a dinner right now with this man. I don't know what to do because I'm not one to be like a total bitch. And he brings flowers, and I'm like, oh, this is so not cool. And so anyway, I never spoke to him after that, and he kept persisting, and I was like, no, that's not happening. But that's definitely happened a few times.
Oh my God.
Or they'll have just the neck up photo, and then you meet them and they're like, I don't know, 275 pounds. Like, and you would have never seen that from the picture. And it's like, okay, I don't know. I like, I'm healthy, fit. I really believe in health and wellness. Like that's me. And so I want to be with someone that's into health and wellness as well. And
Of
so,
course.
yeah. And so that's like a definite no for me. And it's like, you're going to meet the person. You're going to see how much they weigh. Like, what's the point of like hiding it?
Right, exactly.
So, all right. What about any other, like something funny or something nice that someone's really done for you on a date?
I mean, I I've been on some interesting dates. For me, I just feel like I don't appreciate men or just people in general who try too hard. I after this show for a little while, I didn't want to be bothered with anything and anyone.
Right.
And so I just, I didn't bother. And then I got on a dating app, which is something I've never done before. And I figured, well, this would be kind of good to meet people. And so I met this one guy who was really, really sweet, like very, very sweet. We went on a date, but I just felt like he was just trying a little too hard to be something that he thought maybe I was attracted to. But it was a turnoff. Instead of him just being him and just being, simple, and not, I don't know. It was just something about him that he was just trying too hard. And for me, that's a turnoff. And I don't know if, people think that because I've been on a nationally televised show that I need certain things from a man, because I don't. I live on my own. I've been very independent since I was 18. I moved out. I've always had one or two jobs. I've always had a side job. I've always had a corporate job. And so I am never with someone for their funds or because of what they have. And I feel like a lot of men think that, because there are a lot of females like that. And I get that,
yeah. Yeah.
So I just feel like some men, they try a little too hard. Like, I had one guy who wanted to give me money to pay my cell phone bill. And I was like, I don't need your money. I have my own money. Like, the thought is very appreciated. Thank you, but I didn't ask for it and I'm not going to take it. So don't think that I'm with you just for your funds.
Right.
I cannot. That is a complete turnoff for me. If you want to do something very sweet, like, when me and my guy first started, getting to know each other, he sent me like a care package, like for Christmas. And I was like, we just started talking 2 months. I was not expecting that. And it was nothing crazy. It was little things that I had said during conversations. Like, I was like, oh, I need a new water bottle for the gym, or I need new, gym gloves. And I didn't think anything of it because they were just simple conversations. And the little care package actually included those things, which was super sweet.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it's very thoughtful. So like, that is very sweet, but just don't, like, here, because I know you need it. No, I'm okay, thanks. And I will never take money from anyone.
Right. No. I've actually, no one's ever said, let me pay for my bills, but I've actually been asked, this is a long time ago in my 20s, by like 2 different boyfriends for me to pay their bills.
What?
Yeah, their phone bills.
I mean,
I'm
that's
like,
ballsy for them to ask.
I know. And then that one of them wanted to move in with me, and I was like, no. And then he proposed because he wanted, I don't know what he thought I was, that I'd be able to provide a roof and all this other shit.
Oh my God. He was legit like looking for a sugar mama.
Yeah. I know. I was like,
certified crazy.
Yeah, no, that's not happening. Oh God. So, by the way, which dating apps were you on? Or was it just
I just used Bumble, because I had heard Tinder was more for like hookups, just only hookups. And just coming out of the show, I mean, obviously, I want to get married, and I want something much more serious than just a fling. And so I'd heard that Bumble was like the new app at the time.
Yeah.
And yeah, people were much more serious on that. So that was the app. But it lasted like a month. I was like, I'm over this. It's just too much. And just coming out of that situation. And then, I'd reconnected with someone from my past and we started hanging out. So it was just, I was like, yeah, I'm over this. But, I know women who have had great success, like Davina from my season. She met her husband on Bumble, and
Awesome.
they dated and they got married, and they just celebrated a year.
That's
So
awesome.
it works for people, you
It
know.
does. It really does.
Not for me, but it works for people.
So when you did the app and your picture was on there, were men like, "Oh my God, I so know who you are"? Or
Oh yeah, there were quite a few who would say just that, "Oh my God, I know exactly who you are," or "Oh my God, you're Jessica from the show. You know, that guy was such a piece of shit," whatever, whatever. Then I had one guy who's like, "Oh my God, I used to watch the show with my ex-girlfriend. She made me watch the show, so I know exactly who you are. I would love to take you on a date." I'm like, "No." No, I'm okay. You know, for me, it was just kind of this, I don't know. I didn't, again, I'm very open about my life, and I've always been that way, because I feel like, when you try to hide things is when they come back and they bite you in the ass 10 times as hard, karma, you know? And so that's why I was very open on the show, and I'm very open about the show. But I also didn't want to date someone who thought that they knew me because of the show.
right, I was going to ask you that. I mean, because that must be really hard. I mean, because if you watch reality TV and they recognize you, would you say like 5 out of 10 guys knew who you were, or was the percentage more?
No, I would say, yeah, I would definitely say 5 out of 10. It probably, in my bio at first, I thought it was really kind of cute that I put something like, you write some words about you, and then I
Right.
put something like, I may or may have not been on a television show, and I think some people were even more intrigued in knowing. But yeah, 5 out of 10, they had already knew who I was, because they would name, the ex person.
Oh,
I don't
uh-huh.
like to say his name. So, they knew, they'd watched it, or they came across it at one point or another. So people definitely, they definitely knew about the show, which was interesting.
Now,
Because you don't expect men to watch the show.
no, exactly.
At least I didn't, and then we just had, sometimes it's just like the most random person who's like, "Oh my God, you are that girl." And I'm like, "You watched the show?" I'm like, "Huh?" It was very weird at times, yeah.
Now, was that like a definite no? Like once they recognize you, you're just like, nope, this just isn't going any further.
Yeah, for the most part, just because, again, I didn't want them to think that the Jessica that they saw, that who was just always crying and always so sad and so vulnerable. Like, I didn't want them to think that that was me. That just happened to be a point in my life where, I kind of lost myself, and, it just so happened to be on television.
Right, right.
Yeah, so most of the time, I would rather have went on a date with someone who had no idea, and then we would talk about it on the date.
Okay. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I like Bumble. I'm on that one too right now.
How's it
Not,
going for you?
you know, so I live in Connecticut and I work in Manhattan part-time. So when I'm in Manhattan, I get a lot of connections because it from
It's
Manhattan men. But once
everywhere.
they know that I live in Connecticut, they're like,
Uh,
"Oh, hells no."
yeah, got
Because
it.
it seems like another faraway land.
Mhm.
It's not really that far, but especially since I'm in the city a couple days a week, and to me that would just seem convenient. But um, I think it's going, decent. I mean, I'm kind of, um, just freely dating. There's no one that's, you know, been able to have the balls to quote unquote claim me. Not in a not in a sense of ownership. I would never ever
Mhm.
want that. But do you know what I mean? Like a man that's like, you are the person that I want, and I don't want you dating anyone else, and I want to see where this goes. Like some guy that
Mhm.
actually has the balls to say that is what I'm looking for.
Right, and a lot of men like that. I don't know what it is.
I don't know. I don't. There's like fear of intimacy, and it's another topic on the podcast as well. And I have had men that I've interviewed on the podcast that are very into conscious relating and conscious relationships. And the rituals that they have with their partner are just beautiful. And it just deepens the intimacy between two people. It just, when I hear about what is possible, it's the one thing that keeps me still like in the game, which I feel it is dating is kind of like a game. I mean, guess like no way around it, really.
I agree.
And, being and able to be vulnerable with someone is, I think, the best way to be. But I feel like some women can be more vulnerable than men can be vulnerable. I think it's very hard for them to be.
Oh, yeah. I feel like because of their ego, they're just so stuck on that. And it's like, if I'm vulnerable, they're going to think that I'm soft or, I'm this and I'm that. Right, weak, exactly. And it's like, we don't think that. We just, we would just like that in return because obviously, we are vulnerable creatures, but we are also very strong at the same time. So, we just need someone who can be as strong with us and as vulnerable.
Yeah. I mean, there was something I heard from a therapist, a relationship coach, that there will never be a man as strong as a woman inside, as much as there won't be. So women we're just stronger. We're
Right.
the stronger not physically, but emotionally, we are just the ones. Now, me being in medicine, I just constantly see men that can handle having a fever. I mean, it's like a sore throat and they're coming in. I had a sore throat 2 hours ago. Help me.
Oh my God.
So it's just, you almost have to see that with compassion, that men really are like super sensitive. And then are. When they have fear, it comes out as, sometimes it comes out as anger or sometimes withdrawal or whatever. But it's just amazing, the dynamics. I don't know if you know the work of Allison Armstrong.
No, I've never heard of her before. So
she does, she's great. Oh my gosh. She's not only had a couple of books, but she also teaches women, there's something called the Queen's Code, learning about men. It's just, she does a phenomenal job. She has got online courses and she's got workshops that you can attend all over the place. And so she's really been instrumental in me learning more about the dynamics of like male and female, because we are so freaking different. And if we just understood each other more, I think there would be such a decrease in the divorce rate.
Right. It would make relationships that not easy, but so much, easier, I guess, to communicate as well.
Oh my God. Yes. 100 times more. And so, I love bringing experts on the podcast to just talk about either the book they've written or their experience in relationships. And it's just been so beautiful to see the men on there who talk about their, how they are 100% invested in creating an epic partnership with their beloved. And that's like the thing that I desire the most, is for a man to be fully and all in and, not only committed to me, but cherishes. I think all women should be cherished and adored. And if you're not, then we got issues.
Right. Of course. Yeah. I read something the other day where it said something like, it'd be nice for men to court their women, not just the beginning of their relationship, but throughout their relationship. So that way we know how much we are appreciated. And I think, that makes a lot of sense, but it should also go both ways. I feel like a lot of women just take, and they don't give as well, So it's a two-way street. I feel, that 100%. And I don't, the person that I end up with, and it better be sooner than later. Obviously I want him to know, what he has, but I want him to know also that I know what I have.
Yeah. I mean, I think men love and they thrive on appreciation. When we
Yes.
appreciate them for the littlest thing that they do, because really all men inherently want to serve. We are the ultimate receivers, and men are the ultimate givers. So that's
Hmm.
sort of how men and women. This is just the dynamic of it, and so men just always are looking to please us, and when they find that they do a little tiny thing and we're like, oh my God, I can't believe you did this. I love that you did this for me. Or, you kind of make a big deal out of the littlest thing that they do. And all they want to do is they want that to see you smile again. And so they're going to just continue to do over and over for you.
Hmm.
It's what I've seen. And it's like, I don't know if I want to say magic, but men are, I think that if they are not appreciated, I think they tend to just wither because they don't feel like they're in service.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, and I have seen women that do not appreciate their men at all, ever, and there's like lots of nagging and reprimanding that's happening, and a lot of demasculating. And I think that that's really sad for the man. And of course, obviously, the opposite is true, that men can also be very emotionally and verbally abusive, and obviously physically. But I
Hmm.
think that if we can learn just the few things that makes us happy, what makes women happy, and what makes men happy, and we
Hmm.
understood that, I think this place would be just a lot. There would be less divorce for sure, and less breakups.
Absolutely.
So, is there any other really juicy story that you'd like to share?
I don't, let's see. I guess at this point, we can talk about like the show and obviously why I did that because that was, I guess, a relationship if that's what you want to call it. I don't even know at this point anymore. Um,
How
you
long did
know,
that last, by the way?
a lot longer than it should have. That is for sure. So, we obviously because of the divorce itself, that process took a while, and the reason why it took a lot longer for me was because of me having to get the order of protection.
Mm.
Um, we fought in court for a whole year to get that finalized, and so that kind of also prolonged the divorce
Oh,
because I had my attorney and then I had the divorce attorney hand in hand. Um, so my divorce finally came through like sometime, I want to say the winter time. Yeah, definitely was the winter time of 2016. Mind you, we started filming late December 2014. And
oh, okay.
yeah, him and I separated like April 2015. And then in May was when they flew us out to LA to film the 6 month checkup, but that didn't air until like late June. So it took many more months for it to actually get finalized, my divorce, while Davina and Jacqueline had already been divorced. And I'm like, why is it taking so long?
And
I
so,
just wanted no more ties with that.
yeah. And so, when did you first start to notice, like, oh no, this shit is not happening right now, and I
Yeah.
can't even handle it anymore? This is bullshit.
Yeah, you know what? It honestly, it took a while because I was so adamant about making it work. And I was so blinded by just the situation. To me, our arguments were normal couple arguments, especially that we hadn't known each other and we're living together and we're getting to know each other. And there's cameras on top of that, just the pressure. So when we decided to stay together at decision day, I thought, all right, the cameras are going to be gone. We're going to live together and we're going to do this. We're going to date, and it's going to be, the pressure is not going to be so much, and it's going to be fine. And in fact, it got worse.
Mm.
He had no intentions on making it work whatsoever.
Oh
And
God.
again, I did not, I didn't see it happening. It was when the show actually aired on national television that I started to put pieces of the puzzle together from what I had lived and then rewatching. And I'm like, oh my God, this happened then. Oh my God, that happened then. And I'm starting to put all the pieces together and I'm like, oh my God, he had no intentions on making this work. Everything that he said, everything that he did, when it got a little better towards the end was because he had already knew that he made himself already look like an ass. So now he's trying to make himself look better to the audience, but at that point it was already too late.
Oh, okay.
But again, it took me so long because I was just so blinded by the experience. I thought I had a really good friend in my producer, and at the end of the day, she was just doing her job. So I want to say it took me one Sunday. I was on the phone with my best friend, and a situation had happened between him and I. And I sat on the phone and I told her every single thing. And she's like, Jess, I love you, and I'm going to be 100% honest with you. And I was like, what? She's like, I bumped into his friend at the club last night, and he told me everything. I'm like, well, what do you mean? What does that mean? She's like, Brian had told his guy friend, who happened to be belligerent drunk, that told my best friend everything. And I guess he didn't realize he had diarrhea of the mouth because he was so drunk.
Right.
But, that Ryan had never any intentions on making it work. He wanted to be on television. He wanted to be a reality TV star, and he needed the money because he was going broke and he owed people money, and he was doing and selling things that he shouldn't have been doing. He never owned a business. It was all of these things. And I sat there on the phone and I cried because she knew things that I didn't even know. And I knew that they were true because him and I had went through certain things that I didn't even tell her because I was so embarrassed that she knew, because apparently he was running his mouth to all of his friends. And she's like, Jess, you need out. Like, I don't care. You need out. You need to pull the plug. That's it. You're done. I don't want you to see him anymore. She had to put her foot down. And I'm forever grateful because it was like a smack in the face. It was like, oh my God, he put me through the ringer. This is crazy. I can't believe this is my life now. And I called the producer and I was pretty much like, screw this. I am done. I am over it. This was like right before the reunion. And she's like, are you sure? And I'm like, absolutely. She goes, well, you know that when you come out to film the reunion, this is going to be your time to pretty much say your piece and let everyone know what really went down. And that's exactly what I did. And I never looked back, and I blocked him on every single thing that I had to. And then, unfortunately, things went left where I had to get the order of protection. But it was that Sunday phone call that I had with my girlfriend, my best friend. She's like, Jess, you need to wake the F up, because this is not you. This is not your life. This is, you need to let it go. You need to let it go. And yeah, that was my wake up call. That was like my aha, holy crap. I need out of this. And I don't care what anyone says. Enough is enough. That's it. I've had enough.
Oh my God. So were you guys living together at the time when that conversation happened?
No, again, we decided at decision day to stay together. And I'm like, all right, well then where are we going to live? I have a 2-bedroom apartment here in Queens. He lived in a basement studio. I was like, well, I didn't want to stay in this apartment because I had gotten this apartment that I'm still at with my ex-fiance at the time. And so I didn't want to start a new life in an apartment that I had kind of ended that life,
Right.
So I wanted us to get an apartment together.
Right.
And he was like, no, I'm going to stay in Staten Island and you're going to stay in Queens and we're going to do it that way. I'm like, what? That makes no sense. How are we supposed to date and get to know each other? But that came with him not really wanting to make it work. He just thought that that was going to be the easiest way to get rid of me.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so sorry that you had to go through all of that bullshit. But you've come out and you've got yourself a man that's, that's into you now. And,
and he's amazing.
You sound very happy with him.
I am. I'm just happy with the space that I'm in now. At that time I like how and why did this happen to me? And now I don't question the why and the how, because because of all of that, I have been able to become an inspirational speaker to young girls all around the world. And if it wasn't for the show and that platform, that would have never happened, So I know that happens in my life for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And my girls, my best friends are Jacqueline and Davina. We have such a special bond, and I would have never met them otherwise. So I know that even though that was a very, very tough phase in all three of our lives, we all three came out so much stronger and better women, and just more aware of what we want, and when to say no and when to say, hell no, like, you're not enough for me. You're a great person, but you're just not what I want and what I need and what I'm looking for. And so, again, it was just a part of my life. And I think I needed that in my life as Jessica, wake up and smell the coffee, girlfriend, because you don't need a man to make you happy. You are perfectly fine doing it on your own. And when it's time, the right man will come into your path, and it'll happen the way it's supposed to happen.
Exactly. Amen, sister.
And, before I wouldn't have been able to even speak like this. Before I've always grew up very timid, and people are like, you timid, but you're so great in front of the camera. I've always just, as a child, I was bullied. And so I always just stood to myself. And again, I feel like that the show, it did many things for me that I needed on a personal level. So I can say thank you to them, but at the same time, I won't.
Right.
Because of what they put me through.
Exactly. But, I think that we all grow from adversity, and it definitely sounds like what happened to you. I mean, I always believe that everything happens for a reason. And so, yes. And to look for the gold in it, because there always is gold in whatever adversity comes your way, or person or whatever. And there's always lessons and relationships. Marianne Williamson says that relationships are assignments. And I believe that completely. And every person that I've ever dated has changed me in a certain way, and has me realize certain things about and has also made me much stronger. And I'm like, okay, I don't put up with that or that anymore. Right. Like I used to. Oh, hells no. And so, yeah. And it's just, it's beautiful to watch. And I applaud you for also, finding this path and speaking to, is it teens or young girls? How old are they?
You know what? Honestly, I still to this day get messages from women as young as 15 to women in their mid 50s. And I mean, from all over the world, of all different races. So it's been worldwide as far as the women reaching out to me, which is kind of crazy. Even when I still see Jessica Castro, inspirational speaker, I'm like, huh? When did that happen? But it happens. And and actually because of that, I decided to become a mentor to a young girl who is 16. I just met her last week, which I'm super excited about. She lives in the Bronx. Her family, they're from Bangladesh. And, she just needs someone. She's sisters, but, it's different. I get, she wants someone who is outside of her family that she feels is not going to judge her. She just wants someone that she can talk to and build her confidence up. And so I'm going to be working with her quite often. And, she texts me every so often, and we communicate that way for now until we get to actually set some, I guess, play dates up and stuff like that. So, yeah, I'm actually really excited about that as well.
Have you heard of I love that, by the way, and I love that she reached out to you and you were very open to mentoring her. That's phenomenal. Have you ever heard of the organization Girls Inc.?
No, I have not.
And so they're in New York, and they're everywhere, and it's for young girls who are, I think their tagline is we are bold, we are powerful, we are strong, or something like that. And they also accept people who want to come in and give inspiring talks. So that's just an FYI, if that was something you were wanted or curious to find out of any organizations, it's called Girls Inc.
Yeah,
INC.
I just pulled them up. I just pulled the website up. I'm definitely gonna take a look at it. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, yeah, of course. I spoke to Girls Inc. when I lived out in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and they're just the things that they teach girls about money and relationships and like so many things. It's really cool what they do.
Awesome. I
It's
love
really awesome.
that.
I know, I do too. It's empowering. I wish that I had that when I was growing up, a place to
Hmm.
go to feel empowered,
Right.
and it's just amazing the resources that are out there, and after all is said and done, you've really come out on top after all of this.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I had no idea where my life would take me, during and after the show, but very grateful for every single way and every single person I've met along the way,
Mm-hmm.
men and women, because I never thought again that my story and what I went through that aired on national television is something that a lot of women and young girls do go through. I just, I thought it was normal, and it's not. And
Yeah,
it's, a lot of women feel that they have nowhere to go and no one to turn to. And that's really scary.
absolutely, absolutely. Well, is there anything that you're currently working on now, or anything kind of like exciting that's in the works or anything?
I have one thing that a lot of people don't know about me is that I've been in the entertainment world since I was in my early 20s. So I've done commercials and things of that nature, and the show knew about it. It makes sense that they wouldn't put it out there to the world because it would be weird. This girl who's done television and now looking for love, like, is she authentic? Is that what she really wants? And obviously, it's something that I wanted and I still want. But I've never lost that passion for wanting to be on TV. And so I have a manager and an agent, and I'm constantly going on auditions. I just filmed a public service announcement just on Wednesday that will be on television in a few months about fair housing for, people of all races. And so I'm working on that, and working a lot on speaking on panels and women empowerment panels. This Saturday, I'm hosting a fashion show in New Jersey.
Hmm.
So, I have not little, but I have things going on here and there. But
Cool.
I'm always auditioning. Yeah, and I would love to be back on television. And, people ask me, do you want to do reality TV? And I say no. It's nothing against anyone. I had my fair share and I
Right.
experienced that, and it's just not because it's really based on drama and all the cattiness, and I don't have it in my life, and I'm not going to create it for TV, and I'm very content with where I am right now. But I would love to be back on television. I miss that, as crazy as it sounds, the
Mm.
long hours of filming and having a crew and all that stuff. But I know that the right project will come along when it's supposed to, and I'll be back on television. It's just a matter of time. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, Jessica, it was so great to connect with
Thank
you.
you so
I
much.
really love what you're doing with young women, and how you've just become so empowered from your first day of filming to where you are today. It's really just beautiful to see that and to hear your voice. You sound super happy with your new man.
Thank you.
I really wish you the best. I hope to connect with you.
Yeah.
We are somewhat neighbors, and since I'm in the city as well. So,
Yeah, absolutely. I was gonna say I work part-time in the city as well. So I'm there. It's not like any like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, some Fridays. So whenever you're in the city, I mean, definitely we can, grab lunch. I'm always up for it. I'm right on in Midtown. Um,
oh, okay.
Perfect. Yeah, and I actually have family in Connecticut. I can't tell you exactly where, but I have an aunt and I have some cousins who live in Connecticut too.
Oh,
So
nice,
yeah,
nice.
we're definitely neighbors. That's right there.
All right. I would love that. I would definitely love to meet you in person. And
Yeah, absolutely.
we do similar work in terms, I do it through a podcast. You're doing it in person and through other ways. And so I really commend you. And
Thank you.
we definitely need to meet up in person.
Absolutely. I am all for it. Me and food, we go together very well. So.
Me too. Me too. All right. Well, have the most beautiful weekend. Thank you so much. And I will talk to you soon.
Thank you so much, Margaret. I'll talk to you soon. Have a great one.
Thanks. What a fun interview. Thank you so much for joining me this week. I hope you enjoyed this. If you want to learn more about Jessica and for all the show notes, head on over to margaretromero.com/episode 48. Until next week, love to you all, big hugs, and we'll speak to you then. Bye for now.